Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today we're going to be messing around here on UniteDB, theory crafting 3 builds that I think that are practical builds that you can use for your actual 3 setups. Now, the thing about the boost emblem system is that there is a lot of depth to it, and there's a lot of min-maxing you can do per character, but the reality is that we only have 3 pages. So I'm going to save my green-black build to the very end of the video. Stick around for that one, because that one I'm not really even going to theory craft. I'm just going to show it to you because I think it's probably the best green-black build that there is. But right now, I'm going to use this tool on UniteDB to build emblem builds for 2 other kinds of builds that I think would be good to have. So let's go ahead and dive into it. One of them is going to be super easy, and I hate that I'm even doing it, but this is literally all you need to do if you want to do literally a full crit build. Like, it's actually incredibly cheesy, and it may even be better to drop off is this just the high-end build? Like, I hate that this is an actual practical build to run, and I'm showing it with golds for now, but yeah, it's kind of crazy that if you wanted to hit 10% crit, you could just do that, and then you could stack sand splashes because you could do that. And like, I guess you could bring 1 sand shrew, and you could probably drop the mouths and the Persians, right? Like, this would eventually be the highest tier. Yeah, this is literally going to eventually be like the best crit page that you could possibly get. I hadn't even thought about it like that. You can just drop the whites because you don't need the white passive. You could, if you really wanted to, just to go for it. Like, you could bring Persian and Meowth if you really wanted to. I guess at this point you might as well, right? So like, this would literally be probably the best crit page you can bring, because you're dropping mostly SP attack, which on characters that are critting you don't really care usually, and you're dropping defense and SP defense, but you're bringing 10% crit rate, you're getting the 1% HP and the 1% attack. So this is like attackers, this is like all-rounders. This is legitimately a page that you should be looking to build. The reality, though, for now, for most of us, and I think this is totally fine, is that most of our crit pages are going to look something like this, right? And this, again, totally fine. It's going to just be something, you know what I mean? Like, something like that. It's going to be something like this for now, where you have like maybe a gold, some silver, some bronzes, you're double stacking, like you're not really looking at the passives. So this is a very realistic page that I think you should use. And it's like, it's such a generalized page, like meaning like you can use it on attackers and all-rounders, that I think that it's like worth slotting. So, all right, that's one of the pages that I would definitely recommend for a practical actual page that you should be running. So the next page that I think that you should be running is some form of a white build. Now this one, this one's probably the one that's going to take me the most amount of time, because you could take this in a few different ways, and this is like what I call my 3rd slot page. Like, I always have like a crit and attack page. I always have a green-black page. This is the page where I can really mess around and change things, but I tend to feel like it's mostly a tank-focused page. So if we were going high-end and looking at golds, I would probably look at the Pidgey tree, because this is something that's going to give you a lot of health. You can see we have some minus stats, but you're going to be getting a lot of health, and we're going to be shooting for 6 white. So what other whites do we want to go for? Well, we could use Butterfree, but that's minus attack, and that's not terrible. But like, sometimes I want to use I want to use this on, say, all-rounders. So losing attack's not necessarily the best. You have Rattata that drops health for defense. That's really bad. You have Raticate that drops SP attack for defense. That's not bad, right? Because if you're using this on like a tanky page, a lot of the times, like, it may not be the best to drop SP attack on, say, like a Slowbro or something, but it's only 3. So this is definitely something that you could consider. Spearow is plus attack for minus defenses. That's not great. Plus attack for minus defenses. Meowth's crit rate, Persian's crit rate, Farfetch crit rate, and then Duo is minus health for speed. So a lot of the white options are not the best. I think that Raticate's actually pretty decent, because you're just going to lose a little bit of damage. Butterfree's probably the same thing. It's pretty decent. And then that could even lend to a potential green slot if you're looking for this to be like a tanky SP page. But we need 1 more white, and probably going to end up just grabbing like some move speed off of the page, because again, I'm trying to make this like a general thing. And actually, I wonder if the Raticate, it would be better to slot a bronze Raticate, no? Because then we're just losing less SP attack, and we really just want the white emblem. So something to think about there. For Butterfree, it was probably the same thing, because if you're using this on an all-rounder, you don't really want to drop the attack. So just thinking about like actually practically doing this. And again, I'm trying to do this theory crafting like live, so you can kind of see my thought process behind it. If you're using this on like tanky people, you don't really want crit and you don't really need attack, although this isn't terrible to do. It's just dropping SP attack is not great, because that kind of like locks the page into being for like all-rounders or certain tanks, as opposed to making it a little bit general. Although again, even thinking about this, like if we drop the SP attack by 1.5 for one attack, it's basically like a linear change. So this could help us just reach our 6th one, or we could drop like a little bit of health for speed. But dropping health at all on like a health page feels silly. So I'm gonna probably do like Fearow, where we're like bronze Fearow, we're just hitting the passive, and that's pretty much the goal there. So I don't know. All right. Now, what do we want for the rest of our page? So the thing is we could do something like, if we wanted to take this build and go a little bit like attacker or like all-rounder focused, we could start looking at Nidoqueen and Nidoking, right? So for example, if we were to slot Nidoking and Nidoqueen, we could start pushing ourselves toward 4 browns. So like we could go like 6 whites, 4 browns, but it's also going to hit the 2 special defense as well, which doesn't really matter. This is like if I was building this page and I was starting intentionally to take it towards like a tankier Aegislash, or maybe like a tankier Buzzwole, like if I specifically wanted to do that. And then what other browns would we get? You know, I could bring crit to the table if I wanted to, for say like an Aegislash. I could bring HP minus SP attack, because this is getting a little bit more specific. HP on a white page for minus defenses wouldn't be bad. Let's look at some other options here. Now I'm being really specific, and I'm going to kind of wipe this out here in a second. Minus attack for speed, or plus attack for speed is not terrible, but not necessarily the best thing to do in the world. Plus attack for defenses is fine. Plus attack for SP attack is great, because at this point we know we're going like say an Aegislash page. And again, that would have been different earlier, right? Like earlier where we were dropping like these, like this is a little bit more general. So yeah, like in this page, we would probably do something like Machamp, right? Okay, so now this is like an all-rounder page, or like a attack-focused tank page, so like a Mamoswine or a Trevenant page. Because now we've built the 2 purple by circumstance. We have the 2% attack, the 4% HP, and then the stats that it's focusing on are just like getting more HP and a little bit of attack, right? And we lose some special attack, but we don't care about that, and we have a little bit of defenses. So this is like a pretty realistic page that you could run. That would be pretty good. And if you wanted to, you could even go for a higher Fearow, because like I said, when I originally slotted the bronze, it was because I was making this page really general, and then I started kind of specifically turning it. So, all right, let's take this page and let's actually make it a little bit more generalized for tanks. So let's wipe out the oranges, or the browns, sorry. And let's think, what do we want to go for? So if we were doing like a very general page, we could look at something just looking for HP. So what's going to give us good HP with a bit of a, like, without the worst benefit? So plus 50 HP for SP defense is not bad. We could do something like that. You could even just like slot a bunch of the same HP in, but maybe there's something that's a little bit better. Like we could grab a couple purples from the Nidoran, the Nidorina. Are there any 2 blues that we could grab? We could go for more HP and grab some defenses. So like this would be like a decent tank page, because we're hitting a couple of defenses and then we're just slamming HP. So now you see that we're going to get that 4% HP, but the HP value that we're bringing is 350. So it's a pretty big HP value. And I've never even really looked at Nidorans, Nidorina, Seal, or Dugong, but you know, we're dropping a little bit of damage here. But that's like, if we're truly going tank, this is technically how you would be a little bit more tanky, huh? And I'm not sure if dropping that level of damage is worth it, but for additional HP when you have an HP percentage passive, it's probably not bad. So I even think doing something like dropping move speed on like a tank is probably not the end of the world. It probably wouldn't be that bad. Dropping HP for defenses is not terrible, but at the same time, you could also hit small percentage defenses, although it's very negligible, right? I wonder actually what the math on this is, because I dropped, so what, I'm dropping 4 defense? I wonder what the difference on 2% defense is. It would definitely be more than 4, right, overall. So, I mean, even something like this, right, where we hit like a pink passive, like let's, what are the best pinks to run? How many are the passives? We need 3 for minus defense, minus SP defense, and minus speed. So I guess it doesn't really matter. So we can do something like this where we're starting to go pink-white, and hopefully in the future we'll get like pink-white hybrids. And then what could we slot for the last one? We dropped a little bit of speed. We could negate the speed loss with like a different emblem, like specifically go out of our way to find plus speed, or we could do something like in a build where you're 6 whites, 3 pinks, where you're specifically going out of your way. You could even just add health, right? Like you could do minus attack for health, or you know, minus more defenses for health. If you're a tank, then this is like fine, right? You could legitimately do this page. So you can see how like the tanky page is a little bit more theory crafty, and I think it depends. Like on this page, I've kind of given a couple options. You had like a tanky, like attack focused all rounder kind of tanky page, and this one is like, this one's a tank page, right? Like if you threw this on defenders, it'd be pretty good. You're getting a little bit of the pink resistances, which I don't think you have to go for this. It's just about the notion of you can get this because you're stacking health, and like 350 health, this is like almost a buddy barrier, right? It's like 350 is 100 short of 450. Obviously, and then you're still getting this percentage passive. So I think that this build is actually a pretty decent build. All right, so enough about this one. This one is the one, like I told y'all, this is the theory crafty one where I'm constantly changing this page up, but I think this is a pretty decent build. Last but not least, I want to show y'all my green-black build, which I think I've shown off before, but I truly do believe that it is like the best version of a green-black build that you can get for mages specifically. And since that's mostly what we use green-black on, yeah. So we're going to go with the Venusaur tree. We are going to find our Vileplume, our Venomoth. I'm just trying to remember all the ones that we have on here for it. We are going to grab a Grimer, a Gengar, and I know I need Victory Bell, but I'm going to go with a Bronze Victory Bell. Sorry, I have to remember at the same time. Bronze Victory Bell. And I need Golbat and Zubat. Okay, so this is my green-black page, and I want to explain why I run this one. So, we perfectly hit the 6 for the 4% SP attack. We perfectly hit the 7 for the 8% move cooldown reduction. The 1 purple is just a side effect of the Gengar. And our stat breakdown is, and this again, min-max to the highest level because I don't even have all these gold yet myself. But the stat breakdown is 100 HP, which it's always good to have extra HP. We lose attack, but we don't care on mages. We lose defense, but we don't really ever care about losing defense. We're bringing 9 SP attack, and for the sake of saying, 9 SP attack is not a lot, but if you compare it to SP items, it's like almost a fourth of an item. So it's like it's not a negligible number, right? Like 39.9, it's like almost a fourth of an item. In terms of SP value, so just something to think about there. For defense, we lose a little bit of defense, we gain a little bit of speed, and we lose a little bit of crit, which we don't care about losing crit on mages. Bringing speed is always nice. Losing defenses is not bad. So yeah, I've min-maxed it out this way, and the bronze Victory Bell is just for the black and green passive, because you don't care about dropping your SP defense. Like, you don't care about bringing 1 extra attack on SP attackers, and you don't want to drop your SP defense for no reason. So it's like you might as well just min-max this by putting a bronze in. And yeah, there you have it. So friends, this has been a little bit of a theory crafting session talking about like 3 practical builds that you could truly slot. I think that everybody should have a green-black build like this. I think that everybody should have that kind of white focus tanky build, some version of it where you're getting 6 whites and then doing something else with the rest of it. And then I think that you should either have a full crit page where you're truly slamming crit, or a crit attack page, because I kind of go back and forth between it. I have a full crit page, and sometimes I'll do like 6 browns with crit, because then you're getting like the like you're getting like the orange passive, the brown passive, what is it, 6% attack, and then you're getting like 4 or 5% crit on top of it. So that seems pretty nice too. Friends, thank you so much for watching the video. Drop a like on it, subscribe to the channel for future Pokemon Unite content, comment down below and let me know what you think of the green black build, what builds that y'all have been running pretty consistently. Like, what's the page that you go to that is always on? You know what I mean? Let me know. As always, be sure to be kind to one another, tell someone you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.